what were we just talking about? Your Huracan. So you had a Huracan, you sold it, you don't drive it.
Yeah,
I didn't drive it.
When I first, I had a Gallardo, I crashed that, and I got a Huracan. But at first I justified it like financially by, I talk about indirect investments, right? Like,
okay.
If you buy a Huracan, it's not a good investment. It's not gonna make you. You're gonna lose money on it. You're gonna lose $50,000 in a year. Mm-hmm. But if you're driving around and you feel like $1 million and you feel, good, then that feeling, that energy will translate into your interactions with other people. You could have a conversation that totally changes your path. Mm-hmm. So by buying cool things like that, like your financial advisor would tell you it's the stupidest thing in the world, but you could actually gain from it indirectly.
There's a deeper level.
Yeah.
Well, and aside from that, we both have personal brands. So that will bring attention and credibility to the personal brand. So that's why I bought the GTR when I bought it. It was like, that's the excuse we use. It's like, it's as an investment, like an indirect investment, but we want a nice car.
Yeah.
Like obviously we want a nice supercar. But yeah, it definitely did bring a lot of attention. I'm sure the Huracan brought you a lot of credibility and attention too.
It did, but I'm actually, it kind of made me shift to the other side. Like I actually don't want that attention anymore. Like right. I don't want to like drive around and have everyone looking at me. I want to be behind the scenes, because there's a lot to live up to when everyone's looking at you. Mm-hmm. And if you can work at your own pace and be your own person without the eyes on you, there's pros and cons to both, of course.
Yeah. So how long has this, like how long have you been doing your personal brand?
Personal brand?
Yeah.
So I guess I could start with kind of like where I came from and then how I got into all that stuff, because it kind of just happened naturally, just from rolling with momentum. Ever since I was, 17, 18 years old, I grew up with a single mother, 1-bedroom apartment. She would always work 2 to 3 jobs,
Really?
Keep me in a good school district. And I always knew that I wanted something more out, just like everyone who's probably listening to this podcast, and everyone wants more. And I was just crazy enough and like stupid enough to try a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I first got my real first business venture was a company called Electric Flurry. We threw the world's largest foam party. So there were like, we would sell tickets for like $30.
Dude, Jason or Logan told me about that on the beach yesterday.
Yeah.
They said that you threw like these massive concerts.
Yeah, we would literally we got to the point where we were doing arenas. So we did the Mullen Center at UMass, at Amherst, like on campus, 6,000 person venue.
Jeez.
So I got started there, and I kind of I had my first big win when I was 21 years old. We did almost $1 million in sales that year, which was, to me, it wasn't. It was more like it just kind of proved to me that I could actually do something on my own. So it was a really important thing. But after that, by the time I was 23 years old, I crashed and burned. I threw a show that was too big. Didn't sell enough tickets, lost all my money, lost an investor's money, got sued for $250,000.
Wow.
And I was in a dark place because I went from building this ego and building this persona who I thought I was. I thought I was, the successful businessman, and I knew what I was doing, to moving back in my mom's apartment when I'm 24. And so it was a really good learning experience. But anyway, from there I went on to work for a company called Yik Yak. You ever heard of Yik Yak?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It was a really big social media app. A lot of people know what that is. I ran the marketing for that company, but simultaneously while I was working for that company, a friend of mine who was over in China, he discovered hoverboards before anyone had ever seen them in the U.S.
Okay.
And I was actually living in Lake Havasu, Arizona. We were sponsoring spring break out there for Yik Yak, and
Crazy.
My friend, he knew me as the marketing guy because I was doing the concerts and then marketing Yik Yak, and he calls me and he's like, dude, I have this really cool product and I want to get your opinion on it. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, I can't tell you what it is. I'm just gonna ship you one. And I'm like, okay. And a week later, I get this big heavy box, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And imagine you've never seen a hoverboard before. You've never seen something that you could balance on and roll around. It was out of a movie. I took this thing out of the box. I was like, no way could this work? And I plugged it in, and then I got on. I almost fell off, and then I started riding it around Lake Havasu, where all the college students were, and everyone's like, what is that? Breaking their necks. What is that? You're running over to me. How much was that thing? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know how much it was, and no, you can't get one. And that made me realize, I was like,
Winning product.
Yeah, and this is before I'd ever sold anything online. So I'm like, I need to start selling these. So the first thing I did was the next morning I went to Starbucks and I built a Shopify store.
Nice.
And I printed out business cards. And everyone who asked me about them, I'd give them a business card to my website. And I had a supplier in China who would ship them direct to the customer.
Fantastic.
And that was drop shipping, but I didn't even know what drop shipping was at the time.
That's like a whole new angle. That's funny.
And we were making, over $1,000 on each unit because we're selling them for $1,500, and they only cost us like $300 to get them shipped to the customer. And I ended up like making 5 times my salary at my job in like 1 month, and I was like, that doesn't add up. So it's like I gotta explore this e-commerce journey more.
So you were 24.
I was 24, 25. And that company got to a point where like we built a brand that was so recognizable that like I was on the phone with Mark Cuban about acquiring the brand.
No way.
And it showed, it was a cool journey. But what it did, we didn't have the patent on the product, so we couldn't really do like that much with it. But I did quit my job, and I flew out to China with Jack. You actually met Jack last night. We flew out to China together, went to the Canton Fair, and we were looking for that next viral product. So we're walking around this 12 million square foot trade show. It takes 15 days to walk through, and looking for cool products. And while we were there, we found inflatable loungers, the very viral product. You'd wave it through the air, it fills up, you roll it up, and you can lay on it.
Oh, I have seen that before. That's an interesting one.
So we saw that, and immediately we're like, we got to start selling those. So, and I didn't actually know how to drop ship the right way. So we were importing them. We had our brand on them, our logo. We had high quality ones. We were selling them for a lot of money. We had a warehouse in LA, and we were shipping them to our customers, selling to retailers, and it was good. We did a few $1 million in sales, which was it was cool, but all the overhead and all the work, at the end of the day, we net like less than $200,000, and living in LA and trying to like support yourself, the two of us, it's like not that much money. But then actually one night I was at a trade show after, selling these things for 3 days straight, talking to retailers, just like tired, about to go to sleep, midnight. And I got an email, and it was like how to sell products without ever seeing or touching them. And I was like, should I go to sleep first? Let me open that email.
Who is that from?
It's from a guy named John Mack.
Oh, okay.
He's like an OG.
All right.
It's funny, I've actually connected with him since. But I was like, it was midnight, I had a flight at 7 a.m. I had to be up like 4, get to the airport. I'm like, let me just click it. So I clicked the email, and he did a free training on it, hour long, showed the whole drop shipping model. And I got so excited because I was really good at marketing, but the logistics and the importing and wiring hundreds of thousands of dollars to China, I didn't like. But I was so excited by drop shipping that I got to the airport at like 2 hours early, and I built a drop shipping store, and that was a store that I scaled from 0 to $2 million in 60 days.
So that's your big story store.
That was like the most money I'd ever made in a short period of time, and that's where I got, that's where I started investing in the personal brand, and and that's kind of how my personal brand started.
Okay, I see. And then you've just been growing it. After that happened, you got some, fame. People were wondering what you were up to. And then now, for the last 2 years, how long have you been taking a step back from it, like going behind the scenes again?
So, I did invest in PR, and getting articles and getting, my Instagram verified, all that stuff. 26 at that time. But it was like, so this was before everyone was selling courses, before everyone was like learning that model. Only like the real OGs were selling courses back then, like the Ty Lopez, the Adrian Morrison, the big guys, Dean Graziosi, they were selling courses, and Sam Ovens. Yeah. And I learned how lucrative the info space was, and I had so many people DMing me that were like, hey, how do I learn how to drop ship? That I just went in and I built a course, and then I hired the marketing director from Sam Ovens to come in and build our funnel. We built a phone sales team. We had 25 full-time sales reps. But I was kind of just following the path that everyone was kind of like telling me to do.
Wanting you to go on?
Yeah, wanting me. But inside, it was good. I was making money. I was building a company. I was passionate about it. but I wasn't really super passionate about like selling courses and selling mentorships personally. And I did it for about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, and we did well. I mean, it was an 8-figure business. But yeah, it made me realize that I do want to get back behind the scenes. I do want to like get less attention. I do want to just kind of live life at my own pace and, stick to my values.
Dude, that's really interesting to hear. So I can actually relate to that on maybe a smaller scale, because I know you've had your huge share of fame. But I found the same thing. So I was not into the business of selling courses. Like I did have my course, and it did do well, not 8 figures. But regardless, for me at 19, it was a lot of money. But I realized, I was like, no, dude, I don't like selling courses. I don't like it. Like, you can't make everyone happy, and it's just such a like a weird thing to do. But it is kind of worth it though, because there are going to be those people that you change their lives.
You will change a percentage of people's lives, but the problem is that you're enabling people to think that it's about what you do to get successful, not who you are. And I'm a big believer that it's not necessarily about, okay, if you follow these things, you'll get successful. It starts internal, right? Like it starts with who you are, what your routines are, what your mindset is. Like I have about 500 people in our group coaching program, and right when someone joins, I know if they'll do well or not. And it's not because they're smart or they're a math major.
They just have that energy, man.
They are just excited, and they're not scared. If you can replace your fear with excitement, your odds of succeeding are so much higher.
Fear with excitement. Yeah, that's a good valuable tip for sure.
Yeah.
That's fire.
So whenever somebody comes into the group and they're like, yo, I can't wait to get started and like have good energy, I'm like, oh, that guy's gonna do well. I always nail it. I always know.
Yeah, they're just gonna do whatever it takes to get it. So so you stopped selling your course, and now you're behind the scenes. So now what are you working on now that you can share with everyone?
Yeah, so my main business is ZenDrop. ZenDrop is a marketplace of suppliers and sellers, a dropship supplier. So when I scaled my store from 0 to $2 million in 60 days, I got screwed over by a supplier, and he sent me 7,000 fake tracking numbers, which was like, I ended up losing like 450 grand in a week. Like it was,
shit.
Yeah, I got literally like I paid him for the orders. He sent me tracking numbers. I sent the tracking numbers to the customers, and the tracking numbers didn't work.
Yeah.
So like, I got totally screwed over, and I was like, there has to be a better, solution for drop shippers. And we started building ZenDrop, but it took us about 2 years to get it built, and that's my main project.
So I keep hearing about ZenDrop, but I don't understand it. So are all of these products coming from China, or do you have products from the US too? Or is it just like a place with reliable suppliers where people can go and find these suppliers and it's trustworthy? Yeah,
so ZenDrop is continuously growing and transforming, and we have a big vision of what we will be in the next year to 2 years. As of now, the majority of the products on there are from China. They're from a handful of suppliers that we've been out to their factories and warehouses and trust, and have sent them millions of dollars. And really a big benefit of using the platform is that you get our support. So you get like a US company that you can talk to. You don't have to wait up till the end of the night and try to talk directly with China and deal with the cultural barriers. So we kind of broker those relationships. But what we're building and what we're working on right now is the supplier side of things is an onboarding similar to Amazon. Like if you want to sell on Amazon as a supplier, you create your own, you list your own products, you make your own, prices, all stuff like that. And what we want to achieve is to have like every major brand, every product that sells their products on Amazon or Walmart or Jet or any of those websites, that they would list their products on ZenDrop as well for sellers to be able to sell.
So you want to make like a whole marketplace?
Yeah, we're creating a new marketplace that lives between wholesale and retail. So what do I mean by? I mean like, if you own a hat company and you sell your hats for $40, but you sell them wholesale for $20, you'd list them on ZenDrop for $25 or $30.
So it's like like another more clean version of AliExpress, kind of, you'd say?
Yeah, but specifically to connect suppliers and brands with sellers.
Yeah, but you can also, like, I know people retail shop on AliExpress.
Yeah.
Like some people will just go
we're,
shopping.
we're not looking to sell direct to the consumer and as a front page. No. So what happened was I tried building a business about a year and a half ago called thefishingshop.com, and I partnered with a big fishing influencer. We went to the biggest fishing trade show. We got 50 big brands to agree to drop ship for us, right? Agreed. And we built the site, we added all their products, we started selling them, and we quickly realized that communicating back and forth with all these suppliers was impossible. Like, they each have 1,000 different SKUs. They're each sending different packages to the end customer, and we're waiting for tracking number from this guy, and that guy's too slow, and it was a nightmare. So we actually shut down the business. With ZenDrop, now a business like the fishing shop could exist. Now all those suppliers could just upload their products to ZenDrop, and now it's just one point of contact.
Yeah. So you're creating your own solution, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just really looking to build something that enables more commerce as a whole. It enables more sales to happen.
It seems like if you guys, or when you guys pull this off, it will bring a lot of trustworthiness is not the right word, but like ultimately, the ZenDrop will bring reliability to dropshipping in that space.
Yeah, we're really just trying to change the e-commerce space so that people can build long-term, sustainable businesses and sell high-quality products. And here's another example of what we're looking to do. So let's look at a brand like Nike, right? Nike would love to be distributed amongst another 50,000 online stores, but Nike also doesn't want anyone to be able to just go sell their products and tarnish their brand. Right. Obviously there's minimum advertised pricing, MAP pricing that they need to enforce, and you can't just, Nike doesn't want to just have no control. That's why you need to work with a distributor and all that stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to make it so that suppliers can create an application system. So if you want to sell Nike as a seller, you need to have, and this is an example obviously, you need to have $5 million in annual revenue. Your business has to be in good standing for at least 3 years, and then you can fill out an application. And since we're connected to the store, through API integration, we have all that info, so you can unlock that application once you get to that level. Mm-hmm. Now you can apply and you can answer all of Nike's questions, and when Nike says, okay, cool, Sebastian is allowed to now sell Nike products, and they click approve, now all those products you can import to your store from ZenDrop. Mm. So we're looking to create a place for brands and products to be able to distribute to a large database of online stores and still have control over what people are doing.
I see. So as you're describing this, the picture that comes into my mind is like imagining a shopping mall. Like if ZenDrop was a physical thing, it'd be like a shopping mall where just you can go to any one of these stores and then sell any one of these products, and then you can go to this store and have these products, and it's just connecting a bunch of people. That's the picture I get.
Essentially, it's decentralizing e-commerce, and it's enabling more commerce to happen between different sellers. And the shopping mall example, if you were a business owner, not a consumer, because we're not selling direct to the consumer. Mm-hmm. So that's our big vision, and that's what we're currently raising money for and all stuff like that.
So you think the future of e-com is promising then?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable,
right? I get that question so many times. It's like, hey, is dropshipping dead? Like, is it finally over? Is the craze over? And you just think, you're like, well, what are we going to go back to stores? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, or what's going on in the world with communication and information, and everything's going to start getting, more digital. Like, we're going to become symbiotes. Like, we're going to literally be merged with AI here in 10 years. Like, how do you think people are going to shop once you have a plant in your brain?
They're just going to think of what they need, and then they're going to blink their right eye once, and then it'll get delivered in 1 hour by a drone.
Exactly, yep. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's going to be the epitome, of e-com. It's just going to be...
It's just going to become less...
Everything.
More frictionless. So it'll just become easier and easier. Mm-hmm. And people have been asking me that same question. Since I got started, people have been saying dropshipping's dead. Since I first got started, they're like, yeah, this model doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was like constantly year after year we grew more and more. Yeah. And still are.
Yeah, it's crazy. It does happen. So I'm gonna ask you. You live on a golf course. This is your beautiful house, right? How did you get into golf? I mean, you're 29. That's young for a golfer, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest person in this neighborhood, for sure. Honestly, so I was living in LA with my then girlfriend, now my fiance. And we kind of wanted to go somewhere more quiet than LA. It was a little bit crazy. And also while we were there, I wasn't really earning that much money, and we were, you know, in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we had the dog, and it wasn't like the most ideal situation. Crazy story, on my drive from LA to Florida, because we decided to move to Florida. Her parents are from Boynton Beach. So on the drive, that's when my store began to scale. That's when I started scaling my first dropshipping store.
Oh.
So it like, and what happened was, and I'll kind of get back into the golf in a second. What happened was I knew I'd be driving like 10 to 18 hours a day for 5 days straight. And I was doing everything myself. I was answering customer emails, I was running my own ads. And I'm like, I can't do that while I'm driving, 10 to 18 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So I hired a VA and I hired a media buyer. And it was a really important lesson, because at the time we were doing like $2,000 a day in sales. And after hiring these people, I started driving. And since I was doing less work, my mind was working better. And I was thinking more about strategies and thinking about how to grow my business more. And while I was driving, I would call my my virtual assistant or my media buyer and say, hey, let's try this, let's try that. And during that drive, day 1 we did like $2,000 in sales. Day 2 was like 7. Day 3 it was like 15. Day 4 it was like 35. And then by the last day of the drive, I did $50,000 in sales.
In a single day? In
one day. And I had never done, $2,000 a day was a lot for me when we first started the drive. And it was funny because I was driving, it was me and Madeline and my dog Nula at the time, and I was like Madeline, day 3, I'm like, I did $14,000 in sales today. Like I profited over $5,000. I'm like, I never made that much money in one day in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't tell anyone about this. And then literally like for a whole month, I'm like, every day I was like, we're starting to hit $50,000 a day every single day, and I'm just like, well, thank you for this.
You're like, I made it. We're good.
I'm like, no, I was actually like, this. I know this can't possibly last. This must be a fluke. Like, thank you again. I'll take it day by day. I didn't tell anyone about this. Like, I was super under the, just behind the scenes with it. But anyway, yeah. So we moved to Florida to come somewhere more quiet, and I love getting good deals. So I was just looking for like a cool house I could rent and like negotiate half the price of rent for. And I found this house, and it was on a golf course. And to live here, you have to get a membership, and you can go play whenever you want. And there's no tee times, and I have my own golf cart. So I started getting into it, and then once I got like decent, I'm still not a great golfer. I was shooting the low 80s, but it's just super addicting, and it's like the best hobby for sure.
I feel like golf is actually a lot of exercise. I've never gone golfing.
It is
top golf, never like on a.
You get sore after you swing the club 100 times aggressively, but it's led me to meet really cool people. I think I told you about the MJ story yesterday.
Yeah, actually, if you want to quickly go over it, you can.
Yeah, so golf led me to. I have awesome neighbors. They're a lot older than me, but I golf with my neighbor across the street often, and we became good friends. And he took me to play golf at the Bears Club, which is up in Jupiter. Derek Jeter has a house there. Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Rory, like all the big guys have a house there. Houses start at $10 million and up. And he also represented somebody in MJ's family in a case. So he's like family friends with Michael Jordan, and that morning I had no idea I was gonna meet Michael Jordan. I just thought we're gonna just go play golf and like whatever. And we finished up, and his wife gives me a call, and she's like, MJ's mother-in-law said if you guys want to go check out his house, you're free to head over there. And what was funny was that in that neighborhood, there's no street names, there's just numbers. So it was, I forget the number of his house, but we're literally like driving around the whole neighborhood like looking for this number, and we finally find it, and we pull up, and it's it's 40,000 square foot mansion. It was like $45 million, like crazy house. I still at that point, and I ruined it by saying it in the beginning, but at that point I still didn't know Michael Jordan would be there. And we're walking through the house behind 2 security guards and like into the backyard, and I see MJ like leaning over like the grill, just like watching golf on his outdoor TV, and his in-laws are there, his kids are there, and Ahmad Rashad.
You probably thought like you were hallucinating. You're like, wait, what?
I was just like, I saw MJ from a distance in person, and I was like, was like, oh my God, that's like
What?
I was like, that's Michael Jordan. Like, Michael Jordan's right there. Walk out there, and I had been talking to his mother-in-law about real estate because I was looking to invest in something, and she was an agent. I got connected with her. So right when I walked in, she was like, "Oh my God, is that Jared?" You know, like, it came give me a hug. So I immediately had some clout.
Yeah, she gassed you up.
So MJ comes over, and he's got these big hands, like broken fingers from like probably stubbing him on basketballs, and we just hung out. We were drinking tequila, smoking Cuban cigars. He had like hundreds of Cuban cigars in this humidor. And my neighbor was like, "Hey Mike, why don't we take Jared to your trophy room?" And this is after hanging out for like 2 hours, just bullshitting, like talking about golf. And so Mike's like, "Yeah, sure." So I'm walking behind Michael Jordan in his own house towards his trophy room.
Just giving you a tour.
We get in there, dude. I look at the ceiling, and it's the floor from the Chicago Bulls stadium is on the ceiling. There's Wheaties boxes and all of his like shoes and trophies. And I just remember standing in that room, and it really, that day, I had no idea I'd be there that day. Yeah. And that was actually the coolest day of my life, I'd say. And we ended up becoming friendly, and he invited us to go play at his new golf course. But it just goes to show that, like, you know, from playing golf with your neighbor, you could end up in Michael Jordan's home with his family. Like, it's crazy how you don't know what connections can lead to.
Yeah, just the simplest things.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Space Jam as a kid, that movie?
Of course.
Bro, that's the movie that I was like, all right, Michael Jordan, you're cool.
Yeah.
With the Looney Tune characters.
Yeah.
That's funny. But I did have a question before the story. So you said that when you were driving and you were scaling your store, and then it just blew up out of nowhere, which I'm sure you were just like on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got lucky at all? Because I feel like I also get this question a lot, and I like asking it to other people that are successful in their own ways. It's like, do you have this feeling that like you got some sort of luck?
100%.
Really?
100%.
But so I would agree. But do you feel like you were also actively searching for opportunities and always in the right place at the right time?
100%.
Yeah.
It's all about timing. Like, 1 out of 10 things I try succeed. In general, in life. Maybe a little bit more. So as you grow as an entrepreneur, like, the likelihood of what you do gets better because your network of people are... A good analogy I like to say is, like, when you first get started, you're like throwing shit at the wall and like a little bit of it's sticking. But once you get really good, like you're throwing like just like gooey shit at the wall and like a lot of it's sticking because like now the people you work with are just badass people and your knowledge is there.
That's such an interesting analogy. I know someone's gonna watch this and you're like, I'm gonna throw some shit at some walls right now.
He said it. I thought he said to throw shit at the wall.
They're gonna be like distracted doing something. They're like, wait, what? Throw shit at walls? That's actually a good analogy though. Yeah, it sticks and you get the hang of it more. I feel like also in entrepreneurship, it's like a skill kind of almost. Like you kind of learn how to do things the right way.
For me, I'm just consistently learning how to keep my emotional intelligence at a high level. Like, honestly, that's what I focus on every day.
Your emotional intelligence. So let me ask you this, because this is something I went through, so I'm just out of curiosity, but I think I know the answer. So you went from zero, you said you grew up with a single mother. I grew up with a single mother too, and siblings in a 2-bedroom apartment, so 5 people. Extremely poor. Zero. Truly zero. Not like zero, but like low.
Yeah.
And then when I was 19, I made a bunch of money, bought my dream car, moved out, did all that. So to 100 for me, my 100.
Right.
And then it all died down, and I realized that a lot of people were, shitty and fake. And then, I realized a lot of people were hanging out with me because I had money or because I was growing on YouTube. And I didn't feel like I was myself, right? And so when you feel like you're not yourself, you're gonna get like weird. You're gonna get like anxiety almost, or like you want to distance yourself from people and just kind of be like, why do I feel this way? So did you find yourself in that position too, where you went from like 0 to 100, and then you like kind of questioned your whole reality? You're like, what's going on with life? You kind of like feel a little anxiety or like loneliness from people. Did you go through that too?
Absolutely. It's like, you start to build, especially when you become a front-facing person, when you have followers, you start to build a persona that you think other people want you to have, and it's not always in line with who you are. So like, a lot of people think that, what you have is what they want, right? Like a lot of people watching this are like, I wish I had his life. I wish I had his car. I wish I had, his situation. And so you build this persona, and now you're consistently keeping it up, and you're consistently trying to level up, and it gets exhausting, and it's lonely. Being an entrepreneur in general is lonely, so what happened to me is I kind of went down that path as well. Like I bought the cars, I was like posting things about it, and I was like building this persona about myself, and it was hard. It's hard to go back. That's the thing. It's hard to like backtrack, once you have that ego that's built up. So yeah, I went through the same exact thing, for sure.
I think you should just take slow steps backwards. But I know, see, the thing is, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because I know that a lot of people that watch the channel are going to be beginners. But I feel like the podcast, I'm really going to bring in people that have had some levels of success. People that just want to like, okay, they've had a store, maybe they've made 20, 30, 50K, and now they want to learn from Jared, and now they want to, hear other people talk, Ricky or whoever else I end up bringing on. So I want just to share like maybe something valuable for those people, or maybe have them not make the same mistakes that you and I made on some level. But at the same time, do you think that it's maybe good that we went through that on our own personal levels? Because it's like anytime you go through pain, right, you're gonna evolve and get stronger. So do you feel like maybe you should just go all out and then see what happens and then come back?
I think that there's a difference between learning something from hearing it or reading about it and experiencing it. And I think that you need to experience certain things to get inherent lessons from them.
Yeah.
So I think that whatever we say, people are going to get value from, but you kind of have to go through that. Like, you have to go through those super deep lows where you don't think you can get out of to reach those super deep high, like those super high points in life. Mm-hmm. But I would say, like, the one misconception that I see like all the time is that people really just focus on what they need to do and not who they need to be. And it was something we were talking about last night, is like, if you could focus on who you need to be, if you can like understand first, a lot of people don't even know what they want in life. So if you don't have a clear defined version of who you want to be, how do you expect to get anywhere? You're just going to be going in a bunch of scattered directions.
People don't ask themselves that question anymore.
So
like, who are you?
The biggest thing for me was like developing a vision, like, because there's polarities in everything. Do you want a relationship, or do you want to be single and with 20 different girls a week, right? It's like, do you want to live in this area, or do you want to travel the world? And a lot of people like want both, but you have to actually decide, right? You have to pick it. And one huge lesson that I've learned, and I think is really important, and I talk about it all the time, is defining that vision. Literally, like, write out what you want your life to be like, and pick it. You gotta make a choice. Like, what do you want to be? And every single day, religiously internalize it. So meaning, like, for 10 minutes, like, literally sit with no distractions and think about that life. And when I say think about it, I mean like feel it, see it, hear it, like, be it. And then what happens, and it's, you kind of have to experience it to understand it, is that rather than searching for the tools and the resources and what do I have to do next, those thoughts and those patterns start coming to you. So you actually, life just gets way easier when you have a clear, defined vision. You can actually internalize it every day. Mm-hmm. But most people are sitting here, they're waking up, they're reacting to things, they're thinking about all their problems first thing in the morning, how they don't have enough money, how they don't have the the right partner, and how they can't travel, they can't do all the stuff they want, and they're searching on YouTube for all the answers, and they're trying things like knowing they're not going to succeed because they don't have the beliefs that they could yet, and it's like, you just need to pump the brakes. You need to figure out what you want, and you need to focus your energy on who the person is that you need to be to achieve the things you want.
So how does someone ask, or how does someone know or find their vision? That's I feel like it's a really difficult question.
So really important is, when you're thinking about your vision, you have to be at a high energy state. So you don't want to be like, just eating chips on the couch, like what's my vision? Like, low energy, like, I don't even want to like make this phone call. Like, you gotta like go for a run, like scream, like feel like really fucking good for a minute. Mm-hmm. And then when you're in that state, now think about your life. Now think about where you want to be in 3 years or in 10 years. And don't put limits on it. Like, literally, like, anything's possible, obviously, like, that's proven. But what's important is that you think about your vision when you're in the right state of mind. And a lot of people try to think themselves out of that low point. They'll be depressed or sad or anxious, and they'll be trying to like figure it out in their head how to get out of it, but it doesn't start that way. It starts like get up, like literally go sprint for like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, like just go run or do like 50 push-ups, or you will literally feel better. Like your body will release chemicals that make you feel better.
Right.
And the vision that you want now is going to come to you, as opposed to like that depressed vision.
Gotcha. Did it take you a long time to find, or have you, I mean, I'm assuming you've like found your vision, like you know where you want to be in 10 years or maybe by the time you die?
Yeah, and it changes, and that's fine. But for me, I went to a Tony Robbins event, UPW it's called, and we did this really cool like internalization. It was basically where, and the whole event you're like screaming and jumping, and your energy is like really high, right? And we did this exercise where like you imagine yourself as a relative or a friend who like really loves you and cares about you, and they're like walking into your dream house, and they're like admiring your home and your cars, and they're really happy for you, and you're internalizing this, right? And you're walking through the house, and like you're looking at pictures, and it's like a 10-minute, 15-minute journey in your head. And then you like walk up to the master bedroom, and you're just like so happy for you as that relative. It sounds kind of crazy. And then like you look in the mirror, and it's you, and like it makes you like it's crazy, dude. It's like you just like love yourself.
Wow.
And you're able to admire that vision because you're not thinking about it from your own perspective.
Right. You kind of trick yourself.
Yeah.
It's like no bias in that.
Yep. And another thing is like thinking about what you don't want to be. You know, you can all, like if you have somebody in your life that is the epitome of who you don't want to be, you know, maybe you have one of your parents is a drug addict, or maybe you're like your brother or whatever it is, and you want to be far away from that, you can use that to propel you as well.
I see. So where does Jared Goetz want to be then? What is, if you're comfortable sharing, like what's your, I know you say there's no finish line, I heard you say that, but where is like, say we fast forward like 20 years, and then you'll think back to this moment and be like, or back to when you defined your vision initially, and you'll be like, wow, I'm here. Like, what's that?
So, and again, it consistently evolves. Like where I am right now was my vision from like 3 years ago. But, and that's an important thing. I'll get back to my vision in a second. Like, people think that you're going to get somewhere and like, finally there, like I made it. But the truth is that you're going to keep wanting more, right? Every single time you get to wherever you are, you're going to want more. And so often we try to like power through things and rush through them to try to get somewhere. And if you think back, like honestly, the whole journey is so important that you need to cherish it and enjoy the ride, because you're never going to get to a point where you're like, okay, that's it, I'm done, I made it, and I can enjoy life. You got to enjoy that whole journey. But for me, I want to, my vision is, to have a home on a cliff on the ocean with like a 360 degree, like
Tony Stark?
Yeah, pretty much, like where I can like go up there and it's just beautiful weather and I can see the ocean in every direction. I have a lot of land, privacy. I have a family with 2 kids.
2 kids and a wife?
Yep, and I have homes in New York, on Central Park. When I want to go there, I have a place in Europe, and all of my actions are directly in line with my values and my passion. And I'm at a point where my balance is there. I'm centered. I'm not crazy on either side of polarity. I'm just there, and life is easy, and it's I'm supporting my family. That's my vision.
I see. I think that's a good vision.
Yeah.
Are you excited to have kids?
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, I definitely want kids. Probably not for. I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, I'm definitely excited to have kids and teach them lessons about life that I think can help propel them into a life of fulfillment and happiness.
Yeah, they say that. I don't know. I mean, some people I know say that having kids or being a parent is like the most difficult thing you'll ever do in your whole life. And for people like us, like we constantly look for difficult things to do because it's rewarding. So I'm always curious about it. I'm always like, well, I don't know how hard could it be, because like I'm used to taking on difficult shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like if something happens, I'm like, all right, like I'll figure out a way to get around it. I'll always figure it out. But still, yeah, it's crazy. You build a human. You really do. Like the kids are completely, the way they grow up is who they're going to be for their whole life, for sure. You know, especially for the first like 6 to 10 years, you know, as their kid, when they're forming, when their brain's growing, you are directly responsible for how that person is going to turn out to be. Like that's an undeniable fact. So it is a lot of pressure.
But a lot of people might take what you just said and then be like, and use that as an excuse to have limiting beliefs. They might be like, oh, well, my parents aren't successful, so like, I can't be successful. But the opposite's also true. Like if you don't have guidance, it forces you to guide yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and your parents, it's never their fault. It's never anyone's fault what happens, you know, indirectly from them. I was reading a book actually, and it's like, how could you be mad at your parents for, let's say, being a drug addict when their parents were drug addicts? That's all they know. It's not their fault. Like that's just all they know. That's why they pass it on to you. But what you can do is you can realize that you can not have resentment. You could forgive them, and then you could just break that chain, and then now it went from bad to good, and your kids are happy.
Right.
Unfortunately, you were the one that had to like break the chain, but that's what you got to do. That's your life.
It's not necessarily unfortunate. It's your story, right?
Yeah, that's your moment. Exactly.
Like,
that's your destiny.
Life is life. Like everything about it's good if you can, you know, look at it from the right angle.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I haven't put too much thought into kids yet. Like, I'm also like kind of a last minute thinker. So like, I know something's in the future, but my brain won't really think about it until it's like right there. So I haven't really like put too much thought into it yet. But I'm excited eventually to have kids.
Does your fiance, like, is she excited about it?
Yeah, for sure.
Girls are
She'll be an amazing mother. She's like the best dog mom in the world. Yeah, we got these 2 dogs here.
You guys have practice. 2 dogs.
And these are the kind of dog we have Weimaraners, which are like literally the craziest, like funniest breed of dog, like that requires so much attention and so much love to like you can't leave them alone. So yeah, she'll be a great partner in parenting for sure.
Good for you guys. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Your Tesla. Why'd you buy a Tesla?
Honestly, it was so I'd wanted one for a while, and I sold my Huracan. So I told myself that if I sell my Huracan, I'll get a Tesla. So it was like easier to sell it, even though I knew it was the right decision. But honestly, I wanted like less attention. I wanted like just like get in the car, like windows tinted, like it could drive me somewhere. I could just be a low key dude. But still have like a car that goes 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, that's so funny that you say that, because the other day we were Ubering, and it was just me and I forgot who it was, me and some friend. But I was literally saying, he was like, hey, why are you gonna, what are you doing with your GTR? Why are you like gonna give it away? And I was like, honestly, like I just want to get in a car, windows tinted, and nobody can see me. Like I just want to be, you know, just going through the crowd with no one knowing. I was telling him I wanted like the G70 or like the G80 Genesis, like the 2020. Those things are like little Bentleys.
Yeah.
And it's like, not that I can't afford a Bentley, I can, but I don't want a Bentley. That's my point.
Right.
It's like you can just get this car and it's a Genesis, and it's like, okay, nobody
And that's
cares.
what you want.
Yeah, nobody cares about it.
It's so important.
And I'm not buying it for my YouTube channel. I'm not
Right.
buying it for my personal
For
brand.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's smart for you, and you're not doing it for other people.
5%
It takes
then.
way less of your energy if you can do what you want and not always have to be the center of attention. You can conserve that energy and use it for better things.
Yeah. Actually, going back to your car ride for a minute, you said that you were in the car and that you were able to like brainstorm these new ideas. Do you think that's so? It stuck with me because it made sense. You were stuck in a car, so you couldn't distract yourself. There's nothing to do. It's you
And driving too.
Right. So it's like you can't go take your dogs for a walk. You can't go get food. You can't, and all of these things are going to distract you. So do you feel like maybe that was the reason that you were able to get those thoughts? That was like super helpful because you were just with yourself and with your thoughts, and like the creative juices were flowing. Do you think people should do that?
So first of all, a couple of points on that. First of all, most people don't have the inherent capacity to think thoughts long enough that they need to think to actually see something through to the end. Think about that for a sec. Like, you start thinking about a problem, you don't want to think about it anymore. You literally could open up Instagram and you could just like switch on some dopamine like that. And most people don't force themselves to, they'll have very shallow thoughts, right? Maybe there's a big problem they need to solve, and they'll think about the first step, and they're like, all right, I'm done. Like I can think about the next step next. But if you could think problems through to the end and really see a clear solution, you'll get so much more shit done.
Yeah.
So also as well, like, so a big thing that I like to talk about is like when you outsource your work, you get more creative, right? So like when I was driving and I outsourced the customer support and the media buying, I had a lot more energy to use to think about growing the business and owning it rather than using that energy to operate it and wasting it on changing my own Facebook ads. Like we have limited decisions that we could make in a day as a human being, and I want to use my best and my strongest energy toward the highest level thoughts, not towards the thoughts that require like, oh, which business manager do I have to open up? Which ad, like what ad account am I using here? Or which creative should I run? By the time I'm done with that,
you're gonna be so drained.
I've depleted a percentage of my decisions that I could make for the day.
Yeah.
And I want to use, and the fresh energy is where you want to think about your biggest problems.
Right.
So that's why I have that meditation room that I built. Because I go in there first thing in the morning. I've had nothing has disrupted my energy yet. It's fragile. It's right there, and I sit with myself and I stretch and I have the thing where I can hang upside down and I have a sauna and I do the things that make my body feel good for an hour, and all the thoughts that I need to think all the way through I get through in the day so that I have a clear vision for the day, and life just gets way fucking simpler and easier when you think things through longer.
Dude, and you wonder why, like, why aren't people thinking things through? And honestly, I think it just comes down to it's hard. Like, it's hard work. It's not pleasurable to think about a problem and to try to come up with a solution. Like, if you ask somebody, where do you want to go get food? They'll be like, what are the options? You know, it's not like, okay, well, how about where do you want to get food? Like, what sounds good to you? Like, what do you want? You know, it's like they're just thinking, give me something to choose from so that I can compare all four of them and then just pick the least worst one or like the best one out of the four. Like I know, it's just, you know, they're finding the easiest way to fix that problem, which is interesting. It's like people just don't want to do the hard work.
Well, I'll tell you, dude, it's also like it's a muscle that you build up. It's almost like if you're exercising, you get stronger. It's like the more problems you solve, the better you get at solving problems.
Yeah, that's true. It could be like you could have like a strategy. I'm sure Elon Musk has like some crazy ass.
Honestly, dude, I'm so happy you just mentioned Elon Musk because it reminded me of something. Like, people probably look at Elon Musk and they're like, I could never do that in a million years. And it's like, honestly, right now, who you are cannot do that. But you got to remember that Elon has been making consistent wins for I don't know how many years, probably close to 20 years.
20 years.
And your confidence compounds on itself. So if you can achieve one goal, and then you can achieve a bigger one, and then you can achieve a bigger one, then you could fly a fucking rocket to the moon.
Yeah.
But you have to compound that confidence.
Dude, reusable rockets. That's insane. Like, I don't think anybody, if you go back 10 years maybe, I don't think anybody in the world would have been like, how, you can't reuse a rocket. Like, it goes up and then it's done. Like, how are you going to bring it back? How are you going to land a fucking, I don't know how much they weigh, you know, probably tons of pounds. How are you going to re-land that thing? But he did it.
Because he has the confidence to be able to think about those big problems that nobody else in the world has. Yeah. Literally.
Elon has a really strategic way of coming about problems. Because it's always like, I can't explain it. I wish I knew it better. But there would be like an issue and you know, most people would, in theory, or it would be like, okay, this is how we usually solve this issue. But Elon Musk won't start with like, okay, well, what are the first steps to solving this issue that we're having a hard time solving? Elon will be like, what's the end result? Like, what do we need to get? So in order to get to Mars, what do we need to do? What's the first step? We need to lower the price of flying rockets. So how do we do that? We have to reuse rockets. Reusing rockets isn't a thing, so we have to make it a thing. Yeah. So he starts from the back and then be like, what's the fastest way to get there? Not the easiest, but the fastest. You know, what steps do we have to take? And then he just works his way backwards.
Well, and nothing's impossible to him. So imagine you had a mindset where nothing's impossible, what you'd think of, but you can't do that until you compound your confidence to a level, you know, that's that great.
Yeah.
So you have to have win. The other thing is you have to be consistent. Like, you can have like a big win and then like go on a down slope for like 5 years and then try to come back. You're not going to like just compound your confidence. It has to be consistent. You have to keep working at it and every problem you solve starts to create that person who believes in their ideas.
Yeah. What do you think the next thing he's gonna do is? Like the next crazy,
It's
reasonable
like
rocket idea.
how much crazier does it get? You know, it's like maybe I really think it's gonna be some sort of like, and this gets like real fucking weird, but like the next form of evolution. Like we went from like cells to like fish to mammals to primates to humans. I think like the next thing is like a cyber human, where there's like your eyes are like, you know, artificial eyes, and you have a chip in your head, and you can communicate with somebody else. And I think that's the next level of evolution.
He talked about that.
Does he?
Did you watch that? Did you watch that podcast with him?
No.
Joe Rogan? They just
No.
put out another podcast like 2 weeks ago. It's funny that you say that, and you said that you haven't watched that, because Neuralink, his AI company, owned by
I actually
Elon Musk.
don't even know about that.
Yeah, so he owns Neuralink, and that's what they do. They're working on a chip that they put in your brain. But the primary use for it right now is to solve diseases and to fix problems like arthritis, and like to give people mobility in their limbs again. They can actually fix or cure blindness, like if you have a damaged retina and you can't see and there's nothing that doctors can do about it, this will be able to help it.
Wow.
So he's doing that. And then Elon, it's funny that you said with communication, he said in 5 to 10 years that we will actually be able to communicate information from person to person with this chip in our head 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So like he was, the way he was describing it is, if I had an idea, or if I had an idea for software and I understood it because I had this issue in my business, and I created this idea that would solve this issue I had, and then I tried explaining this idea to you that you didn't have this issue, so you might not understand it, there's going to be a lot of like a loss of
There's limitations on communication.
Right, yeah. So like even if I describe it perfectly, you might not understand it perfectly.
Right.
And that's if I do a perfect job.
Right.
And I won't, because I'm human.
Right.
So with this product, you would completely understand exactly what I want. So and so think about what that does for
The big picture.
Yeah. But my theory was that he was creating all of Elon Musk's businesses. If you think about all of their businesses, they all work together and they work for each other. So if you think about it, his AI business, if he gets his employees to use AI, or his executives or his creative directors for Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, his companies are going to fucking explode. Exponentially. They will grow faster, and they will be better companies than anyone else, because they're literally half like AI.
Well, dude, if you think about it, like the majority of the energy that you put into anything is communicating your ideas and reasoning and selling people on concepts to move things forward. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have to sit there and talk to you for 45 minutes or send like 7 emails back and forth, if it was just like a instantaneous I think that the exponential growth of productivity would be off the charts.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Of productivity. Because you could achieve in one day what takes a million years of back and forth. It's like, if it was, you understand me instantly, I then understand you instantly, then it's like, how fast does that knowledge compound on itself? It's like,
he said 5 to 10 years. That's our lifetime. That's like,
that's our prime.
Yeah, exactly. Like 5 to 10 years. So that means that if he's able to pull that off, we'll see people on Mars in our lifetime for sure. Like, might even have the opportunity.
We'll see time travel.
Yeah.
We'll see anything.
Maybe fucking wormhole travel or something.
Well, dude, what that does is crazy. It actually forms a real collective consciousness of people's minds working together.
Yeah, like a hive thing, because we can all. That's how bees work too, right? Because the bees they all just know what's going on. Like the queen can talk to all of them at the same time.
Imagine all the smartest minds in the world working together to solve big problems.
Dude, I don't even know. Elon Musk, he's crazy. He's a genius. I actually wanted to say, I don't feel like, I don't think that the way he is like not attainable. I think most people are like maybe 3% of who they could be. Like productivity, what they think they can achieve in any aspect of life. Like happiness, wealth, whatever you want. Like even passion. Like honestly, I truly believe it. I think your brain, because people don't understand it. You think that your brain is like a fixed thing, and then once it's there, and you can't change it. That's completely incorrect. Like you are always forming new ways of thinking, and if you teach yourself to do something, if you teach yourself how to teach yourself, and how to solve problems, I think you could literally truly do anything in the world and be extremely good at it.
Yeah.
Like Olympic level good at it. But again, like you were saying earlier, it's the thing with confidence is most people don't have confidence these days. And I think that a lot of that has to do with social media as well. And social media, man,
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
Don't even get me started there. We'll be talking for 4 more hours.
It's dangerous, bro.
No, but
what do you think about that? The confidence thing, at least. Why do you think people lack confidence these days?
So I think that confidence is built, and it takes a vision and it takes discipline. So first of all, you need a vision so that you know what direction you're going to head in, and you need discipline so that you stay consistent. Without one, you don't get anything. Mm-hmm. But if you have a vision, you have discipline, you're going to be consistent because you have discipline, right? And now what happens is like you start by solving the small problem. You're like, how do I make 10 grand a month? All right, you solve that. Now your beliefs are that you can make 10 grand a month, right? Your next thing is like, how do I sell, 100,000 units of this product? Maybe it takes you a few months, but you achieve that. Now like making 10 grand a month is easy, you can sell 100,000 products. Now you're building confidence, right? And in the process, you're also building a network. So maybe you went through 3 bookkeepers, right, to find the one that's good. Now you have a good bookkeeper on your team. Maybe you went through 3 attorneys. Now you got a good attorney. Now you got a good CFO. Now you got a good CTO. And now your team is also a direct representation of your confidence. Because now you're confident that you can achieve way bigger things because you have the team that you're confident in as well. But it doesn't happen. There's no way to make it happen instantly. You have to take step by step by step. Somebody like Elon Musk has taken so many steps and big steps. Like he's jumping over lava trying to start Tesla. He put his own $200 million from his PayPal exit into it, and Tesla's trading at over $1,000 a share.
Yeah,
dude.
Insane.
Now that man has the smartest people in the world in his circle. And on his team, he solved the biggest problems in the world out of almost anyone in the world, if not anyone in the world. So his confidence over time has compounded on itself to a point where now literally nothing is out of his reach. Mm-hmm. Nothing. But people think that they just don't have it. But what I'm saying is everyone needs to build it to get it. You can't just have, some people are born with a little more confidence or even stupidity. I was stupid when I was young, just trying crazy shit. But now I'm confident that I can build, I don't have the confidence to go build a Tesla, not yet, but maybe if we grow Zendrop and we exit and at that point I may have the confidence to go do something way bigger.
Yeah.
There's no way to shortcut that except for being consistent.
Yeah, nobody starts with confidence.
No.
Yeah, so the key is discipline. The key is discipline and wins. Every time you win, you'll be like, okay, I can do this.
And vision.
Just next step up.
And vision.
And yeah,
because you got to keep yourself on a path.
You have to know what steps to take.
You don't want to just be stepping that way, then this way, then that way, and you're going to get nowhere.
Right. So that's the key. But then why do so many people lack discipline? Why? Because that's the weird thing. That's a question I always have is if discipline is the long term to make you happy and to make you fulfilled and to get everything you want out of life, why is it so hard for people to put the fucking ice cream down and not eat it?
Yeah.
Is it just because the short term? Actually, there was a study done with this where it's with kids, if you could give a kid a marshmallow right now, or you could you could wait an ungiven amount of time, and I'd give you 2. And people that would wait, that would delay the gratification, they followed those kids throughout life, and they were wildly
way more
successful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it seems like people that have the ability to delay gratification, those people end up making it. So do you think that delaying gratification is probably the key to that? And it's just all right, just go for a run. Just go to the gym.
I think that, yes, it's the key, but I think it starts with taming your mind. I think that most people's minds are just so wild, and they're just consistently working to convince you to do the things that have instant gratification, that if you learn to tame your mind, you could learn to get that delayed gratification.
How do you tame your mind? Is that what you did?
Well,
What
my mind still runs fucking wild every day, but I think a big way to do it is, I think meditation is really important. There's more stimuli and more information today than there was yesterday, and there will be more tomorrow than there was today. So you need to limit your consumption. Mm-hmm. You need to limit what you're hearing, and You need to learn to think deeper and longer. And you do, and everyone talks about meditation, but meditation is simply one of the most important things in the world to do. And most people don't even do it. A lot of people think it's weird, but what you're doing is you're literally learning how to tame your mind and be present and be in the present moment and not be, if you have an eating problem, like, I'm gonna be on a diet, and then like you go and then you binge eat Wendy's for like a week, and now it's gonna take you 2 weeks of a good diet to get back to the center. And it's like the further off you get from the center, the more energy it takes to get back to the center, and people just go completely wild.
Yeah.
But if you can work every day to keep yourself close to the center, if you like, for example, you have an eating problem and you go and eat, you go and binge eat Wendy's once, rather than like you're letting your mind go crazy and convince you to go eat Wendy's the next day and then go to Taco Bell the day after that, you're like, well, hold on, I just have to bring myself back to center. You don't have to go on a diet for a week now. You can just go back to normal. But if you go off the path, and some people just go way off, on one end of the spectrum in life for their whole lives, and then getting back to the other side, it's so far away that it seems impossible.
Yeah.
That they just stick with that.
Yeah, and they just get lost.
Every day, I think it's important to just like feel your life and see kind of where you are with things, understand it, and just bring yourself back to the balanced point. And I think that's how you tame your mind.
I think that's really interesting, dude. And it's like, it's weird because I feel like we've seen this happen in our lifetimes. Like if you go back 30 years, I'm not 30 years old. If you go back 30 years, like my parents, the way they would describe it, my mom grew up like basically in like a shack. Like she didn't have a refrigerator with her parents and her siblings. So these issues with confidence and all that, it wasn't as much of a problem back then. I feel like now, just because of the internet and because of information exchange and how great it is now and how much more has happened, that's the reason that people like, I don't know what I'm trying to describe here, like,
you're saying that people have too much access.
It's too much access, so it's like confusing. It's like giving you anxiety. You like don't know what to do, and you're always comparing things, and you don't view things as absolute. So now we have this problem where people are going fucking all the way left and all the way right. But now I'm seeing it as a new trend that it's cool to like want to seek fulfillment. Like it's cool to want to meditate. It's cool to like spend time alone and like find out who you are. Like that's like
we need to make it cool.
Yeah,
because that will make a lasting impact on our world if people who have influence make that okay and cool and normal.
We have platforms. It's definitely we should. It's like out of responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah, because people don't know. They don't know. Like they're just unhappy and they don't know why.
Well,
you know how many people are just like depressed and anxious and they're just like, I'm fucked.
Yeah, and they think that they're the only ones that are like that.
Oh, dude, it's so many people.
I feel that way regularly. It's just I work to not feel that way every day. I work towards it.
Maintenance, yeah.
It is maintenance literally every single day.
Dude, it's crazy. So I broke up with my girlfriend, and obviously
shout out to the ladies.
Yeah, hey guys, heartbreaking, but. So the thing is, obviously you get upset. So when you're upset, you don't want to, like, you don't really look forward to things. You're like, you just don't care. You're just like mellow. But I remember you constantly work, and then I felt excited one night. I was like, because there was something I was doing tomorrow. It was something I was like working on. And I was like, I'm really fucking excited to wake up. And I hadn't felt like that since school. Like, you remember you went to school and you had like field trip? I don't know. I loved field trips, right?
Yeah.
Or even just going to school because like the day before, like you would talk to a girl and you'd get her number and be like, oh, okay, meet me here at school tomorrow. Or like, just with your friends, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. School was really exciting for me. It was boring, but I was never paying attention. It was exciting.
Yeah.
But my point is I hadn't gotten excited going to bed like in years, right? And then I was like waking up and it was so easy to just get out of bed. Just jump out, and just get started. So that's an incredible feeling. Yeah, that was cool.
Most people have the opposite of that, though. Most people, it's hard to get up because you're like, I don't even want to face my problems.
Yeah.
Right? That happens to me.
I'm definitely not jumping out of bed every day. Trust me.
Yeah.
But it was cool to have that one experience. You're right, though. Most people have that problem because they don't enjoy their lives. Right. I think nobody's talking about this, dude. Nobody's talking about it. But I feel like a lot of people aren't, like they don't know why, they're just going with it.
Because, bro, people think that it starts in your head, but it doesn't. It starts in your body. Like, you have to feel good to be able to think good thoughts.
That's facts.
Straight up. Like if you're sitting home and you're depressed and you got low energy and you have no motivation, just literally shut your mind up, get up, go for a run, and then think about your life and see how much different you feel.
Yeah, dude. You have to. You're so right. I went on a health craze. I started 6 months ago. So, and we could slowly start to wrap it up here. I have a couple more questions I want to ask you, but I think, and you might relate to this because you said that you started cooking, right? You were like cooking for yourself, or was that someone else?
No, someone else.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking about it, and it's like, okay, you have all these corporations and all these companies in America that try to get you to consume, right? So they obviously don't care about what's best for you, but they care about making money and profits, whatever. Right. Some companies are like that, some are not. Shout out to Elon.
Right.
You know, but say for example, you have like a candy bar company, right? And they're gonna make this candy bar, and they're gonna fill it up with this shitty food, like a bunch of ingredients, processed shit, things your body doesn't need, and then they're gonna advertise it and be like, oh, you're not yourself when you don't have this. And you're gonna see that, you're gonna like subconsciously internalize that, and you're gonna be like, oh, well, I really need Snickers to be happy.
Right.
Even though Snickers is shit.
Right.
It's like not good for you in any way.
Yeah.
So I realized that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do the fucking opposite of everything I see. So the only food I'm gonna consume is food that has one ingredient, right? So eggs. The only ingredient in eggs is eggs, or you know, bacon, or egg whites, and then vegetables. Like I'll go and I'll cut vegetables and I'll put them in a bag and I'll freeze them and I'll cook vegetables in the morning.
Yeah.
Ever since I did that, like, dude, I can't even explain what happened. Like, first of all, my acne went away. My hair got better. I became happier mentally. Things were clearer. I was getting better sleep. I had way more cardiovascular health. Everything changed. Like my whole life, just because of this healthy food that I was eating. And it literally does not matter what you eat. It's just eating food that has one ingredient. So like you could have a whole meal and it could be 3 ingredients. Or if you eat cereal and milk, that's like 30 ingredients. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not saying I don't eat cereal and milk, because I do. It's fucking amazing. I love cereal and milk. But most of the meals are just one ingredient, and that has been so incredible. Super helpful.
Yeah.
Super healthy too.
Yeah. And these companies that are, you know, making these foods that are bad for you, I actually, like whenever me and Madeline are like, you know, watching something on Netflix or Hulu or wherever there's a commercial, I literally make fun of almost every commercial because it's all bullshit.
Dude, it's crazy.
For the most part.
It is.
It's like they'll like paint a picture of like who you want to be, and then they'll like be like, oh, if you take this medicine, you'll be like, you know, you'll look like that lady. Or like, dude, you know, if you eat this cereal, your kids will be, you know, if you feed this to your kids, they'll be like this kid. And it's like, it's just all bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, marketing, the traditional marketing, the one that you're talking about, it's like purely designed for profit. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of marketing, is to drive profit. And
you gotta think, and same with, to get onto the social media thing as well. Like these companies have some of the smartest minds in the world, split testing thousands of data points to get you most manipulated. Mm-hmm. So whether that's Instagram trying to make you as addicted to Instagram as possible, people don't realize that, bro. They're spending billions of dollars on the smartest minds, split testing millions of data points to make you use the app as much and as frequent and as long as possible. Yeah. Of course you're gonna get addicted to it.
Yeah, of course. They're researching the fuck out of it. Like they know how to do it better than anyone.
Well, those are the metrics that make the company successful. How long do you use it? How many times do you open it? Mm-hmm. Right? Because how many ads do you see? Yeah. That's exactly. So they're spending money to make you addicted to a platform. Yeah. Just, like next time you're scrolling on Instagram, think about that. Be like, wait a minute. They are literally manipulating me to get addicted to this platform.
Just move the app. Just move it into another folder.
Dude, I delete it like every few weeks. I'll just delete Instagram.
I deleted mine, and so it's funny that you say that. So I broke up with my girlfriend, right? And there was this underlying fear in my life that I was always like I felt like trapped. I always felt like I was somewhere where I was not supposed to be, which impulsively led me to break up with my girlfriend because I was like getting claustrophobic. So I had to make a decision. When the last time I saw her, when I was driving, I had blocked her on everything, so I couldn't talk to her. And then like a week and a half later, I was like sad about it, and I was thinking, and I went on Instagram, and I was like, why am I on Instagram? What the fuck? Like, what am I doing on Instagram? I don't want to be on Instagram. So I exited it, and then I just deleted it. And then it's been like
You can do that.
months.
People, you can delete it.
Yeah, just deleted it, and I had not had a single urge to re-download it. And then I re-downloaded it for this trip for Miami because I'm meeting a lot of cool people. I'm doing some business here, so I want to get some attention back on me so I can do well with my business that I'm doing here. But it was almost painful to re-download it. Like I didn't want to.
Yeah, dude. You know how much energy? Look at your screen time. If
Oh,
you're
dude,
spending,
yeah.
if you're spending 7 hours, even if you're spending 2 hours a day on social media apps, which is average, 2 hours a whole day, and all you're doing is you're feeding your mind junk. You're literally you're training your mind to be impulsive, and you're training your mind to not think long thoughts. You're just training your mind to just drift away and let me consume this. I find myself watching a video of some guy creating a doorknob. Like, what the hell am I watching this video for?
Doorknob.
And then I invested my valuable energy that could be put into anything else I'm doing. I spent 3 minutes and my thoughts on watching a guy make a wooden doorknob.
Yeah. Why?
It's addicting.
Yeah.
It's the content's addicting.
All right, so I have a challenge then for everyone watching this video. If you're still watching this podcast, you're obviously interested in what we're talking about. So pick a day, one day out of this whole week where you probably have the least amount of things to do, say Sunday. And then turn off your phone before you go to bed and don't turn it on until Monday morning. Just go Sunday with no phone and see what happens.
That's tough.
I feel it, dude, and you 10 years ago, nobody had cell phones. Like, I didn't have a cell phone. Or we
Right.
had the fucking flip phones or whatever. But like, growing up, I didn't have a cell phone. My mom didn't have a cell phone. So it's like,
Just goes to show how addicted you are.
yeah, how hard could it be? It's not that hard. People did this literally 10 years ago. So that's a challenge. And if you do
I
it,
love that.
come back and comment and write a long ass paragraph about what you felt and what it was and how painfully difficult it was to do that and how much you had to resist.
I love that, bro.
Let's see what people say. I think
great.
I think we'll get some interesting comments, but we'll wrap it up. I have one final question to you. So you're 29. You've obviously had a lot of success in terms of money, in terms of business. You have a beautiful house. Your fiance seems lovely. You talk about her very nicely, so that's awesome. And you're also on this personal journey. So it seems like you are making the right moves in terms of like what I'm saying. Not even on social media, which is what I like. That's good. What is your advice? So you're 29. What is your advice to someone that is 18? What is your advice to someone that is, 24 or whatever? Let's just do 18.
So, first of all, slow down. You're not in a rush. You're a lot of people have this false sense of urgency that they need to get somewhere to be happy. They think they need to achieve things to be able to feel good, but it's the other way around actually. Take a second to think about that. You need to actually be happy and feel good to achieve things. And people think that it's okay, I'll grind and I'll work hard and I'll be sad and I'll be miserable and then I'll finally get to that place in life that I want to be, and then I could take a breath and I could finally be, I got here. But that does not exist. You will not get, at least in my experience. So learn to enjoy the journey, slow down, enjoy the regular days, focus on what you're grateful for so that you can actually, feel those emotions of happiness. And then the good thoughts that you need to achieve what you want to achieve will come to you naturally. And, don't feel so, don't feel weird working on yourself. Don't feel weird meditating. That shit is good.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's good for you. You'll get way further working on yourself than you will searching externally for all your answers. Search internally. Really, and know that it starts with your physical body. If you're in a bad place, you can't think your way out of it. You have to just get up and do something, pound on your chest, feel good, and then think. So those are two little tidbits of advice. The first one I think is extremely important to understand, and you may have to go through life for a little while to finally realize it. I remind myself of it every single day, dude. Some days I wake up, I react, I'm stressed, and I'm like, what? If you showed me this point in my life 6 months ago, I'd be like woohoo, I can't believe I achieved that. But when you're in the moment, you're like, shit, why is this not going better? but it's like, just slow down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're not in a rush.
It's like people are always in survival mode, like always like running or like moving around or like escaping or, you know, it's like just, life's okay.
They're looking externally to solve their problems. Look internally.
Cool. All right, man. Thank you so much. I
Good stuff,
appreciate
brother.
it. That was a great podcast.
Yeah.